for me. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim Watson speaking on Thursday, the 28th of January. So, looking at what the Fed did last night, whatever they said and what did was very little. In fact, they probably undershot some people's expectations, which was quite key in terms of suggesting interest rates would be a long-term, and employment was a very key factor before they do anything, and then inflation, and I think it might have slowed expectations down. So that killed it in some respects. However, since then we've seen a real case of risk off through these markets. In other words, money running towards the US dollar, running away from equities, running away from other currencies. This has probably been aided with the euro situation, as we've got ECB speakers doing their best, the ECB policymakers trying their best to talk down the euro here, giving excuses for why the euro has been strong against the US dollar, etc., and suggesting that it's all wrong. It's a real case of verbal manipulation going through there. I thought the Japanese were good at it, but they've obviously taken a leaf out the Japanese book there. Anyway, regardless of that, let's have a look at the technicals this morning. So the technicals, we're starting off with the euro dollar here. I should say other fundamentals due out today. We've got the advanced GDP data coming out for the US at 1:30, so nothing this morning of any significance. I'm expecting to move the market unless we get speakers that do so. But the forecast GDP is expected to come in at 4.2 when it comes in. There's no great big movement on a miss on these figures. If you get a positive, it may create some movement. So any misses, anything worse than expected, is not seen as a massive surprise. Anything that's coming through which is above expectation seems to be given a little bit of movement. So there we are. Now, technicals then. The euro here yesterday came pretty close to bouncing off the prior lows there. There was other support areas sitting on that. It also, I'd seen something else here now. I'm going to say that. Oh, it was weekly pivot. No, past its weekly pivot. That was, sorry, for the euro, it was just coming short of the prior lows there. That was its mark. At the moment, as I said, it seems risk off. This could turn on a dime, as I was saying a moment ago to our room members. We could switch completely opposite directions here, and we're seeing this sort of a bounce at the moment from these prior lows here. We have got the untouched daily pivot above, which could draw the price up there. There's a reasonable probability of that being hit. If it starts breaking beyond that point, then I will start becoming a little bit more, well, perhaps the risk is back on and things are switching. If it stays down here, closes down here, well then I'll be looking on the shorter side of things. So it's really a bit of hit. Well, if it does this, I'm doing this, and I'll just draw the trend line across the low there. Really, that's one line in the sand. As I say, the pivot here at 21, around about 21.10, is the other line in the sand for that euro this morning. The pound. Got to look at it both directions, because so often you expect these markets to carry on running through what they've done through the Asian session, only to completely change through the European session. There's not always a continuation move, and you just look at this pound as a great example in terms of how it's been up and down like a yo-yo. It's been currently making, I mean, yesterday made yet another new high since 2018, so it's another significant high. But every time it does this, as I said yesterday, it sells off, and well, it's sold off, and well, back to its weekly pivot here at this stage. And I'm just looking at it at the moment, lower highs, lower lows. It does look soft, but again, a daily pivot untouched above. And if we see this morning, push it starting to turn around post 8 o'clock, well, I'll be looking maybe back towards that pivot. Anything much beyond the pivot, or those 50 MA, again, it starts becoming a bullish move for me on the pound. So I need to watch that carefully. That 34 pretty key on the markets there on that 60-minute time frame. Okay, dollar yen. really sold off effectively, or the dollar's really strengthened against the yen here, I should say. Bullish old signals sort of pushing through here on the dailies and looking like it may have some further upside, but it is running into its monthly R1. It's pushing up it's had quite a strong move here. This is the strongest sort of move we've seen for some time, pushing up yesterday afternoon, really getting a bit of a leg on, and well, at the moment, a bit of divergence. So this might be the sort of the starting of the weak link. There is the higher lows, etc. But again, another daily pivot underneath. This one to me looks a nicer one. Maybe looking, if I wanted to see if these markets roll over, I'll just watch for this break of this level at about a 104.22. If that starts breaking down post 8 o'clock, that may be a good chipper back towards that daily pivot. So we'll be watching the yen there. Aussie dollar, I should say the yen often moves together with the US dollar when it's genuine risk off, and well, we'll see. There's a couple of our traders probably thinking of biscuits now that they have with their coffee, as opposed to risk on and risk off. When I say that, it just probably gets their digestive juices going. Anyway, looking at the Aussie dollar then, and well, daily wise, it's really struggled. It's been putting these lower highs in, lower lows through this channel. It's sort of broken out the bottom of the channel, as the bottom channels never have any real standing in terms of support, and it's pushed through in towards its monthly pivot there. Looking quite soft, taking out these prior lows here, which had been holding pretty well. I was looking yesterday to see if it held into this 200 moving average here with the prior lows, but it broke through that, spoilt the pattern, continued after the US data to push through. And well, another one that might be a reasonable transfer option. We might see something push back here at some stage towards its daily pivot. Long, clean movement down. And it may get half a decent bounce in, and we'll watch that as well this morning. So it's a couple of potentials there. The Aussie tends to move a little bit lesser in the morning sessions, but can get a wiggle on. Canadian dollar. Well, again, the US dollar here has benefited. It's pushed through some of its major resistance points. That was the first touch of that daily 50. Generally, we'd see a bit more of a reaction to that, but we've not really. It's pulled back a fraction, but overall, looking like it's got some more legs to the upside here. Very consolidated in this box. Often, I say box range. Often, when we see a box or stroke range, rectangle as it is, break here. So if you get a fake out, which this could be. Well, if it comes straight back in within the next, I say next day, even today, if it pulls back in today, watch out for it to run back to the lows, or at least midway. But if it stays out there, well, then we may get the depth of this range to the upside. Looking here, there's such a solid move all the way through on the 4 hourlies there. It's been running for a while, and it's again a clean old chart there, an untouched daily pivot again below, and well, pretty much a bit of divergence across. Oh no, actually it had some divergence. It's worked off its divergence there, so it's the one I'll probably leave alone, actually, even though it is setting up that I trust in the Canadian dollar a lot less than others. Right, so they're the majors. Quick look through some of the usual suspects, and it's the Aussie New Zealand dollar is one. I'm just going to look at the bigger time frame here. This is seeing a correction. When we see corrections with the markets here, these commodity currencies selling off, often the Aussie sells off more than the New Zealand dollar, and we're seeing that at the moment. This monthly pivot could come into play at some point over the next few days. It has certainly changed course, broken the trend there, running to the downside. These tend to be more swingy type trades, and there may be opportunities off the shorter time frames to be jumping on board this. At the moment, it really is looking like it's going to take the break from here, but we'll see how it runs. I'd rather be going with the break, maybe from a better price, but it may just run. So that's the Aussie New Zealand dollar. Euro yen, let's just have a quick flicker through on there. I just want to check what's going on there. Euro's not really got any strength here at the moment. It's just side by side bars. Okay, nothing there. Let's have a quick look. The S&P is sold off. Futures sold off here, come right the way back. Quite a strong correction here. This is one of the biggest down days we've had for a long time. If you look back, we've had better up days, but not such a strong down day as this. It's outdone everything since, at least, well, going back here since last September. So quite a strong old sell-off day there. Bouncing at the moment off its daily 50, may just hold it. It's I'm wondering whether, okay, daily pivot's not far above here. I'm just wondering if it will roll a little bit more this time. There was certainly some warning signs in terms of some of the movement, some of the big companies reporting, and well, okay, sell on the news they say, but it just didn't really gain any traction, and it just overall, I just sort of I do wonder if we get a bigger correction. I'm not wanting to go short on this market, but waiting. If I was looking here, maybe looking for the long side back, I still believe that it's got more to go. Gold is a mess, but we know that. But it's a mess that's coming off a little bit. It's starting to build a little bit of a trend here. Lower highs, lower lows, much cleaner looking movement. It's missed its daily pivot today. If it was to pitch into that, that might be an opportunity to sell the way it's been pitching up and selling off here. It's pretty close to some sort of key lows around this level. Whether it will just go from here down towards its S1, we'll see. But it does look soft at the moment on the gold front. Oil, I'm just going to look from a 60-minute if I can here. It's really having a real funny old play there yesterday. Flew up there at 3 o'clock. Inventories most likely coming in there, but forget about US inventories. In reality, there's so much oil out there to be pumped. Yes, this is almost like retail trader movement. Overall, a lot of major traders are keeping out these markets. I wouldn't be surprised at some stage if we see a proper sell-off, and that's what I'm waiting for, and it's not showing me that at the moment. I'll come back to the dailies. It's just consolidating around these highs, so at this stage I'll stay out of oil, and I certainly wouldn't want to be bullish on it. That's, well, I'd say pretty much it. I know you want me to look at Bitcoin, so for those that, some would say keeping the best to last. I was looking at this and wondering whether we'll see a move down. The risk off sometimes can be good for a bit of Bitcoin movement. We'll see. It's not doing too much today, but at the moment it's catching a bit of a bounce from where it was. It did look like it's gapped a little bit. I still think that a great opportunity would be at that sort of lower 50 MA if it gets back down there, that around that monthly pivot. As I said, this is the futures price, so this gap here, which won't appear on the cash price, may even be a better opportunity, but we'll see. Okay, that's pretty much it. I wish you a great day's trading if you're with us, even a better day's trading if you're sitting there on YouTube. Bye for now. There we go. Let's get rid of those.